Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar has taken spirituality to the farthest corners of the world. His meditation and breathing techniques have deeply touched and transformed the lives of over 450 million people in 156 countries by helping them find freedom from stress and negativity. He inspires the highest human values of love, compassion, and togetherness by uniting people from all cultures in a spirit of service and belongingness. He has shown us again and again that the whole world is indeed one family. Ashwini Iyer Tiwari is an award-winning filmmaker who has been both critically and commercially successful. She spent 14 years in advertising, telling stories for leading brands. She has received much praise for her sensitive handling of complex subject matters across her films Neel Batte Sannata, Bareli Ki Barfi, and her most recent Banga. Presenting Ashwini Iyer Tiwari in a heart-to-heart with Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar.
How are you?
I'm fine. Coping. I think it's also a big learning lesson for people like us who keep running all the time, and then uh, we feel okay, we need like a little break. And when we suddenly, when you find we are in this situation, it just feels very different. I think grass is always green on the other side. That when you have this time, then you do not know what to do with it. And I always compare this with the silent meditation course, because it changed my life when I did it in the ashram. So Guruji, should I quickly start the question?
Yeah, start your question.
So my first question, Guruji, is what is this whole thing of keeping others happy and being that yes person that always to be liked by others? There are times when you just want to be liked by others, and therefore you do everything which won't be happy for yourself, but you will make sure that you are doing it for the other person.
See, when you want to be liked by others, that is the way to lead you to more, disappointments. Because there are many people who like you and they don't like you. Even if they don't like, you can't believe that they really don't like you. Inside they may be liking you. Even those people whom you think they like you, there is a part in them that doesn't like you also. So we should not base our life on someone else likes and dislikes. We should be well grounded in ourselves and do what we think is the best for others. One is to do for others what is good for them, and another is to do something so that they appreciate it. These are two different things. Like a mother, you will do only that is good for the kids. Suppose your children want to go and play in the rain and the season, what you would say? No way, stay inside, right? So, you know what is good for them and you do good for them. You don't care even if they don't like or they don't like what you do, right? So we cannot go on someone's likes and dislikes all the time, because they themselves are not sure about their likes and dislikes. They keep changing, right? See, in your own mind, you go and buy something in a shop. When you come back home, by the time you are back home, you may not like it, You think maybe you made a wrong choice. You should go and exchange. Often people, when they buy garments, they ask the shopkeeper, is it allowed to exchange, if I can come and exchange? So, we are not sure about our likes and dislikes. So, we should not be sure about others' likes and dislikes also.
But Guruji, then doesn't it uh, that you are there in the bad books of that person?
Now, tell me one thing. You have done so much good to somebody. You only wished good, you only did good. And suddenly one day you find For no reason, they have turned against you. Hasn't this happened?
Yes.
It has happened. You ask anybody. I often ask this question to people who come to ashram. Haven't you had this experience that you did only good, but suddenly you wonder what happened to this, my friend? He is turned against me. And the reverse is also true. Someone whom you never even met before have come to your help at the need. This has also happened. So, enemy turns into good friend and good friend turns into enemy. What is happening in the, you see in the political parties, they were strong enemies, now they are together, are ruling the same state. So, there is one saying in Sanskrit, Kalaya Tasmai Namah. It's a time. The time can change anything. That's why better not to depend on others' expression of their feelings and be founded in your own self.
Yeah. 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 Uh, there's this huge thing right now on people being two facets. There is a perception and there is a reality. And it is that you build a perception, and that perception is what people are used to looking. Whether it is true or untrue, no one knows about it. Why are people so scared to be their real selves? What is this whole thing of um, being something else when no one is looking at you, and then something else when everyone is looking at you? And that's how the world is moving right now.
You mean like what one is, what one tried to project themselves. Huh? This
Exactly.
indicates fear and lack of acceptance from the other people. See, when our life is dependent on others' acceptance, we try to make others accept us all the time. This is how the world is, this is how people are. We cannot expect enlightened behavior from everybody. But you are free to be the same inside and outside. I would say really educated, well-founded, satisfied, contented human beings doesn't need to show off, doesn't need to put a mask or behave differently. They can be themselves. At the same time, people who think they are just very frank and fair and whatever they are doing, they are very open, they can be rude and foolish also. A sense of right, I am right, a sense of righteousness can make you very stiff and rude and not considerative. This is one side. Another side is trying to be what you are not. So I think one has to go to the middle path where you just be yourself, natural. At the same time, you are sensitive to others' needs.
So that goes to my next question, that on social media, which is like the in thing right now, whether it is Facebook, Instagram, people put a whole lot of uh, things about themselves which may not be real, but they just want to do that so that they can get more number of likes, and they want to be something there. So they also can buy followers, those. So you are still staying in that makeshift world where this is untrue, but still you are portraying that. And I just want to have an analogy to it, is that I always wonder if you or Michelangelo or Picasso or any of the great saints, if they had Twitter, if they had Facebook and Instagram during their time when they were painting, would they have put all these pictures out there, or would you have, when you were in your most younger days, finding your true self and finding that whole spirituality, would you have also put those Instagram posts there and saying, today I was in dhyana and I found too much of satisfaction, because that's what is happening right now. Like every second you open your account, you always feel that someone is doing better than you, or there is a world out there uh, which is of objectification, I
I,
would say.
I, I understand, I understand. One is too much expression of oneself. This is one side. On the other side, not expressing at all, too little expression. Many are there, they are very shy, they keep it to themselves, they don't express themselves. But now with the social media, what has happened is India, usually in India we are not too expressive, I tell you. When you compare to people around the world, they don't say to everybody, I love you so much, I love you so much, like those people do in America and Europe, in different parts of the world. So there are different expression, different way of expression of emotions, their experiences. This varies in the world. In India, we have always been very shy. We never write much about ourselves. We keep ourselves down. But today, the world has become a global family. Unless you speak up, you will not be understood, right? And then the mode of communication, which is social media, I feel everyone should use it. And this heat will be there for another 5-10 years. I tell you, after that, this will all die down. Anything new, people are glued to it. See, when the color television first came into this country, you know, people were glued to it. You will find nobody on the streets on Sundays when Ramayana or some important TV serials would go on. But today, when there are so many channels are available, people don't bother to sit like that. And same way with video games, when video games started, everybody was so much on it. It wanes out. People's dislikes, they all change as time goes. What is important for oneself is, personally oneself is, to speak the language of the time. If today people are using social media, we need to convey through social media. If you ask me, why Gurudev you have to be in social media? Why are you in the Facebook, in Instagram and all? I would say by this I can engage a lot of young people today, and in engaging with them, they get few knowledge, few wisdom that they can integrate in their life. Instead of only listening to about what pakoda you ate today and where did you go, and instead of talking on small things, they at least get to know about nature, know about some facts about life, right? So all the media, social media and other medias can be a good platform for exchange of knowledge. It can also bring a sense of connectivity in people. If you find somebody is a hypocrite or someone is saying something and being something else, social media is where people directly attack them. They tell, hey, come on, don't be like that. Be honest, be truthful, be true to yourself. What is that you want? It can open a bigger avenue to life. Whenever I see people doing small things, I know it is because their mind is closed. They don't know who they are. They have no idea about life. So we cannot be angry at them. We can only be compassionate at them.
Guruji, for every action, there's always an opposite reaction. Like coming now from the next point is that you have a point of view and you maybe type it somewhere. Now, Twitter is the place where people type out their expressions. Why there is always an opposite reaction to whatever anyone expresses? What is this troll for? why can't people live and let live? Everyone would have a point of view on things. So what is this
Listen,
reverse
listen,
psychology?
it's good they do that. Let them do it. They're only
Okay.
let them do it. Let people troll you as much as they want because they are going to make you
No one
strong.
trolls me. I just see, like anyone has any point of view
Let
and they
anybody,
just get trolled.
I'm talking about anybody. Let anybody be trolled. They become strong. Whomsoever they are trolling, that person is going to become very strong, I tell you. They're emotionally, in their conviction, they become very strong. Let people
And
do.
Guruji, does
You
not
cannot,
affect person's mind
no,
because just
you should
yesterday
not
one
get
Japanese
affected.
girl.
You should
Yeah.
not get affected by trolling. You should not get affected by others' comment. That is where your personality can become really strong and well founded. Otherwise, your peace, your joy, your happiness, your compassion, everything will be on a very weak wicket. When you can stand up to criticism of all type, that is when your inner strength wakes up. So I would say people just go ahead and do as much, criticize as much as you can, and you will make the person very strong. If this is their intention, I congratulate them. But if they are trolling, there are only two reasons for people to troll. One is they really love the person whom they are trolling. So they want them to be correct, okay? And the other case is that they are trolling because they are agitated, they are restless, they themselves are frustrated, or they are jealous. So a person who is jealous is equivalent to a person who is sick. And you don't get upset with sick people. A sick man is mourning. You won't ask him, why are you mourning? He is sick, he will mourn. Isn't it?
I love this analogy. I love it. Um, they say in I was reading The Alchemist, and in Alchemist, it's written that make goodness such a normal thing that it you don't have to talk about it. Like it's like brushing your teeth. I've been thinking, should I ask you this question or not? But I think I will ask you now. Is that when people put money or give a kind of money to organizations, or right now even for the COVID, everyone is saying this is the amount of money they gave. Why do they need to say that? We pray for everyone's well-being. Do we go and say, I prayed for this person, I prayed so many hours today? We never do that. We never pray for the well-being of people. Then why, when we're giving money, there is a whole list where newspapers have carried so and so person gave so much money? I just didn't understand why that was happening. Whereas there will be thousands of silent people who are giving their day in and day out, and no one talks about it, and they do it.
Now, that is an ideal people behavior. Ideally, those who give, they want it to be Gupta Dana, not anybody know. Right hand gives and left hand doesn't know. This is the most ideal way of giving. In this, maximum merit comes to you. But if someone wants to give and also take credit that I have given so much, never mind, it is number two, second class. Okay. On the third level, people simply announce that I am giving and they don't give at all. This is the third category of people. So, in any way, let at least even those third category people who announce I am giving and don't give, at least have inspired someone else to give. Right? Say someone, a state comes and say, I am going to give for all the doctors and the nurses something. And when he has said that or declared that, his competitor, his colleague, he will hear that, oh, he has given, I also should give. Maybe this man has not even given, but he made someone else give. In that sense, he is also part of the merit. He also gains that merit. So, It is said, Shriyadeyam, Hiyadeyam, Shraddhayadeyam, Ashraddhayadeyam. In the Upanishad, there is a whole thing about it. It says, give with faith, give without faith. However, because somebody anyway is going to get benefit out of it.
Ah, okay. Got it. So, my next question is all about luck. They say that, um, there are times when we work really hard and then we things don't work the way we thought it would be, and then it says it was luck. What is this word luck? I mean, how does it function? This word luck.
Yeah. I think you have a lot of philosophical questions. I know you come from an Iyer family, right?
Yeah.
Chennai, and there's a lot of philosophical questions in the mind. That is correct. Uh, See, whatever you get beyond your physical effort, you feel that this is not what I earned, but this has come to me as a gift. It's not my doing which gave me this result, but some blessings or some luck, you call it, right? More than what you could have achieved by your own effort. Something that comes to you beyond your effort, that is your luck. And when you put your effort and what you expect it doesn't come, then you say, well, it is my bad luck that even what I am due to get, I didn't get it.
Right.
But you call yourself lucky when you get what you think you don't even deserve that.
So that's luck. Guruji, another question now, this to the times. Astrology has always played a very important role in our lives. So, and how true it is to believe astrology. And as far as I know, no astrologer, I don't know, I may be totally wrong, did mention that there is going to be this virus which is going to come in. And now this new age thinking talks about chakra healing, and each chakra says something. So all over the internet, and there are podcasts on chakras and books on chakras, astrology and chakra, and people, how much do we believe? And that's why we every day in the newspaper do look at what is going to happen in the week in our particular signs. And maybe sometimes we even wear the color clothes which they're asking us to wear because maybe it will work.
I would say these things you have to take it with a pinch of salt. It's a general things, it's a general prediction. Like weather prediction, it's a general prediction. And astrology is a science, but not necessarily all astrologers are scientific in their approach. There are so many different schools of calculation and all that. So I would say, just take it as a hobby, not too serious in life. Astrology, it's nice to know what is in store. So when you know that times are not good, you don't blame it on somebody else. When something wrong happens, you don't hold rag, dvesh, grudges on others. You will attribute to the planets. How can you be angry if you have a loss? You can't be angry at Saturn or Mars or some other planets, right? So astrology in many ways saves our mind from getting into craving and aversions and hatred and all these negative emotions. And it also guides us to look forward in life with hope and be cautious. When the time is not so good, you'll be little cautious. It warns you about your health, and so you be careful about your health. These are they just give you a general direction. And remember, always astrology has one aspect called upaya, means remedy. Oh, time is very bad, but this is the remedy. What is remedy? Prayer. Prayer and meditation is the remedy. That's why it is said, Om Namah Shivaya. This very mantra stands on top of all the planets. So if you chant Om Namah Shivaya mantra, then all the vibration of all the planets, everything gets nullified or becomes positive. So mantras have great importance. And as you asked about chakras, yeah, there are so many things about chakras. It is all, there are there are some right things what they are saying about, and many are all lot of imagination. Yes, chakras are in our body, and you don't need to cleanse chakras and this and that. Do pranayama, do meditation, and chakra meditations are there. We can take our attention to these nerve centers. It will help us. But the way the chakra meditations are all been floating around, most of them are completely unscientific, because they are putting pressure on your mind to imagine things. Now, there is a difference between paying attention and imagining. This fact or this deep technique for meditation itself is not known to people. So people are simply putting some things on in the name of chakra meditation.
That fact, right? You can't just go and unless you don't understand the basics. And there's so much happening there. That's why I wanted to ask you this question, that there has to be a science even for this, to understand and know.
Correct. Yeah, meditation is always should be done effortlessly, and it takes you beyond imagination. So that's why with a proper teacher you sit, and then you can learn all these meditation techniques. Otherwise it can be misleading.
Now my next question, continuation from this. They say that, if you truly deeply want something, pray God and put it to the universe, and the universe will find its way to make it happen. What is there in that universe, Guruji, that that it will try making it happen?
This is what, see, it's the Sankalpa Shakti. This is what we have been telling from ages. This originated in India. You go to any temple, what do? They give you a flower and a little rice on your hand and a little water and your Sankalpa. Let me be healthy, happy, my family be healthy and happy. Take all their names, and then what do? Drop it with the water. You give it away. You take a Sankalpa and you drop it at the feet of the divine. So this is what is then from the ancient times. Instead of divine, they say give it to the universe. That is the Western way of saying. That is fine. You have an intention, don't hold on to intention. Intention, a little attention leads to manifestation. Yeah?
Intention and attention manifestation. Guru, now there are so many kinds of meditation, and I've learned quite a few from in the ashram also. For me, what is the most important, which I really like, is the silent meditation courses, because that really makes you believe that there are some things which you ought to do, and then you come back and you say, this is not what I really wanted to do, and you change your course of life. Do you think that we should have like a India Silence Day? Because people are talking too much, and I think there should be an India Silence Day. Like how we have Yoga Day, we should have a Silence Day. What do you think about it? Yeah. So I think you should initiate it, the Silence Day. But
You know what I have been advising and suggesting? The whole world should have 1 week of planned lockdown every year. Every year there should be lockdown in the whole world. No airline should fly, no ships should go, no trains, no buses, everybody. well prepared. Not that people don't have food to eat and then the lockdown suddenly happens like what it happened now. It should be a planned lockdown. You know what? Then nature will rejuvenate itself then. More peacocks will land up in Mumbai and dolphins will come into Mumbai. You know, we'll give some respite for nature to rejuvenate itself. You know, in Bali, every year there is one day of silence in the month of May. On the Baisakhi, around Baisakhi, the entire island celebrates Day of Silence. Means no cars will fly, no lift will function, nothing will happen on that day. So they do it. It's a good idea. The whole world can do it. Yes, it's a good idea.
Okay. Guruji, is there an afterlife?
Yes,
There is.
yes.
Are we all
There was life before life also, and life after life also. Not only after life. Yeah.
so are we all a part of some life of our previous life?
Of course. Of course. You have come here so many times. Of course.
Or in the form of human?
Yeah. We have all come here many times in human form, and you keep going behind, maybe even animal forms. Definitely, we all been here many a time, and we will continue to be here. Yeah,
This is a long topic of discussion.
yeah.
Guru, the next question is a very important topic which I feel I really need suggestions. Is that you see your I have known very good talent who have got into writers who have got into drugs and alcohol and have lost their lives. And when you know, see, rehab is there, but when you know it's happening in front of you, how do we as people try explaining them? Is because what happens is they feel what they're doing is correct and there's nothing wrong in what they're doing.
I
It's
would,
as simple as me telling my kids, do not be they on games all the time. Right now it's vacations and it's like, can you all stop playing games? And as a parent, we can only tell our kids for a certain limit, because then they start retorting because they think whatever they're doing is correct. And this is a huge problem with this generation of parents who do not know how to control their kids after a point. Is because when my mother used to tell me something, I used to listen quietly. But this generation doesn't do that. They have two answers for it. Um,
yeah, you know,
how do
as parents, you cannot bring all the changes. What can happen is that the friends of your kids, they can bring an impact, make an impact on them. But you can influence indirectly your children through their friends. So I would say, you know, we have done, that's why we have done this, so many courses. When children do these courses, they get out of all these habits, you know, of playing video games, talking foul language sometimes, and being little bit aggressive on others, and getting depressed. You know, children have two extremes. Either they get very aggressive or they get very depressed and they become very sad and morose. No parent want them to be in either of these modes, right? So that is the reason we developed so many courses for them, and I tell you, it has done magic. When children go through this and teenagers go through, so many teenagers have stopped alcohol, cigarette, they stopped use of drugs. You know, they have adopted values on their own, naturally. I think that is where they need this introduction. Anybody, adult or child, if you see that they have some sort of addiction, just bring them to the ashram. You will see in a week's time, they are a different person. You know, we help them to get over their own addiction. And that is what Kriya, Pranayama, Sudarshan Kriya Pranayama meditation has done to millions around the world, you know. Millions and millions, yeah.
Why is it so difficult to trust people now? In our time, we used to go play outside, and I don't think so. My mother was very even worried about what I was going and doing. But why is it so difficult now to trust people that even when my daughter goes out, or even my son goes out, I have to tell them, the do's and don'ts. So many things to take care of. Even interpersonal relationship between people is all based on trust. But this trust is very fragile in this era. Why is it so?
Now, I have a question to you. Say, suppose someone doesn't trust you, how would you feel?
I would feel very down, very neglected because I trust that person.
No, someone who doesn't trust you, you will wonder why they are doubting me. Correct? So the same, the world is full of good people. These bad characters are few. Even they are not really bad. They are stressed out. They are unaware. They are not mindful. They don't know what they are doing. Right? So if you generally see, there is lot of goodness in society. So we cannot think people are all bad, everybody is untrustworthy. We cannot think like that. If we think like that, that's what the others will also think about us like that. Right? And we don't want us to be seen that way, like as not trustworthy. Even if you have made some mistakes, still you know that you are trustworthy, right? You might have made some mistakes, but never mind, but you are integrated. So that integrity is in every human being in various degrees, that's all. And if that has to be expressed in full capacity, that is education, that is culture, that is grooming someone to be more enlightened human being. So we cannot expect an enlightened behavior from everybody. In this sense, we should not doubt people. At the same time, we don't have to be very naive. You can't be naive and at the same time not doubting anybody.
It's a balance of both in this time.
Correct.
Yeah. And now I'm going to do one rapid fire question with you. It is all everyday words
Okay.
and which we use every day, and this need the meaning of it.
Okay.
Uh, so I'll start. Are you ready, Guruji?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Joy.
Myself.
Happiness.
Myself.
Truth.
You.
Oh. God.
We both.
Breath.
That is keeping the whole planet entertained.
Body.
The whole universe is body of the divine. Yeah.
Love.
Our nature.
Success.
If you don't worry, it will come with you.
Gratitude.
That brings more love and compassion inside of you. Gratitude is quality of the wise.
Guru.
Inevitable if you want to progress.
Marriage.
It's a choice to sacrifice.
Yeah. Wisdom.
Wisdom is that which is practical.
Spirituality.
Spirituality you cannot avoid. It will stare at you some point of time. Yeah.
Religion.
Religion has its own beauty and has its own drawbacks.
Environment.
Worth caring for.
Consciousness.
Consciousness is what all that is and that will be. It needs uplifted. in our own awareness. Yeah.
Death.
Comes to one who is afraid every day, but doesn't come to one who is wise.
Maybe gets pushed. Thank you.
Just words that people use so often without really meaning it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Many times people say thank you, they don't mean it. Yeah. A word used so often without really meaning it.
So can gratitude replace thank you?
Well, see, all this is just words. It's up to you how much you really feeling grateful. Then you say thank you. That's a different thing, isn't it?
And yeah, and the last one is Om.
The seed of the whole creation, the primordial sound from which the whole creation has begun. It's the name of that one that is always. Om. Lovely.
Thank you, Guruji.
Wonderful.
Gratitude, Guruji.